Hello everybody. The time is now to submit my final Oscar predictions. The Oscar nominations are coming out Tuesday morning. We're gonna make some bold predictions here. We're gonna, maybe to keep it safe in other categories. We're gonna talk all about it right now. So let's just go. Best Picture. Let's just get the easy ones out of the way. Everything Everywhere, Banshees, Top Gun, Fabelmans, Elvis, Tar. I think those ones are pretty safe to say right now. That's like an easy top 6. Those are going to get in. And then with these last 4, there are some chances that this stuff might not get in. There's taking a little bit of leaps, but in recent weeks, as we've gotten the BAFTA nominations, the Critics' Choice wins, we've had different Guilds Awards, we're kind of seeing different films, come up. Well, let's talk about Avatar. Let's talk about Avatar. Avatar was in top 5, a lot of people, for a while up there and everything. I've got to sneak it down a little bit. It did not have a good performance at the BAFTAs at all. Not at all. It's missing in the guilds. People are just kind of forgetting it. And it's kind of weird because Avatar's not really doing an Oscar campaign right now. They're kind of just assuming people will go see it and nominate it for it. Maybe that's going to hurt it. Maybe that is going to hurt it. I think it's still going to get into Best Picture. I don't think it's as high. There is a chance it might miss, but I think that chance is very slim. So I'm going to still predict it for here. One film we got to talk about, All Quiet on the Western Front. 15 BAFTA long list mentions and getting 14 nominations. Huge, massive. You can't ignore that. Yes, it's the BAFTAs and things don't always translate, but at the BAFTAs it got nominated for Picture, Best Film, out of 5, Director, Screenplay, all those, a myriad of texts, a Supporting Actor nomination. It didn't get Best Actor, but I'm sure it was pretty close. You can't ignore this. I was already predicting All Quiet in some tech categories, getting just a decent number, but why not? I think All Quiet is becoming that international film contender with RRR not eligible here. Decision to Leave not hitting in directors and screenplays and other places. All Quiet's becoming that contender, so I'm predicting it for Best Picture and some other categories as well we'll get into. We got to talk about The Whale. Now, this has had an interesting journey all year long. It's kind of started up in there, then it went out, then it went back in, then it was out for sure. Like, no way is The Whale going to get nominated. Brendan Fraser wins at the Critics' Choice. He's doing tons of press. Everybody loves his speech at the Critics' Choice. Everybody's taking pictures with Brendan Fraser. We go to the SAG nominations. Hong Chow gets in. Hong Chow is also hitting other places as well. Got the BAFTA. Brendan's also getting at the SAG and the BAFTA. It seems that Hong Chow screenplay, Brendan Fraser package, and makeup and hair seems like a package that would get you Best Picture. How will it get 2 acting nominations, makeup and hair, screenplay, possibly winning screenplay, and not get Best Picture? I gotta predict it. And now for this last spot, I was going back and forth. There's kind of 3 films here that I'm not really sure what to throw in. Those 3 films being Woman Talking, Babylon, and Triangle of Sadness. Woman Talking, getting nothing. Go to BAFTA nominations? Nada. No director, no screenplay, no actors, no score. It gets 1 acting nomination at the Critics' Choice. It's not performing, not showing up anywhere, and I don't understand why. It's ridiculous. It's just not showing up enough that I cannot trust it to make it in. It's probably going to get a score nomination. Probably not going to get any actors. Sarah Polley is a big outside shot at this point for a director. Probably still going to get screenplay, but there's a chance that could slip. I just don't feel comfortable putting Women Talking in at this point. It's sad and it sucks, but it's not, I don't think it's going to happen. Babylon in a very similar situation. Very divisive film, though. Whereas a lot of people really like Women Talking. Babylon is very mixed. I'm a Babylon lover. I love Babylon. I think it's so good. I think it's deserving of so many nominations that it's not going to get. I think this is going to get decent. It's going to get some tech. Some people are predicting it for lots of tech categories and then not putting it in Best Picture. I'm like, how can you justify that? I understand you can get a lot of tech nominations and got in, like a Batman situation. You can get several tech and it's probably not going to still get into Best Picture. However, Babylon still does have an outside chance of maybe getting supporting actor. Margot Robbie for actress doesn't look, very sure right now. And screenplay probably not going to happen. Director's not happening. What we're just saying is just going to be some tech categories and maybe Brad Pitt. I think it's going to be too divisive. However, the thing that it does have going for it, it's probably going to win 2 Oscars. Score, maybe production design. Is it not going to get in Best Picture and then win 2 categories? Ma Rainey did it. Ma Rainey won several awards and didn't get in Best Picture. That was a year not of 10, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. I'm going to go with Triangle of Sadness because I think it's going to have a package that is small but very powerful. I think it's going to get a screenplay supporting actress nomination. Not to spoil what's come to head, but screenplay, best actress, best supporting actress combo. I don't think it's going to get anywhere near director or anywhere else, but I think that screenplay nomination is pretty much locked in right now. People are loving Triangle of Sadness. It's getting in. Dolly De Leon is getting in a lot of places. Screenplays hitting. Some casting ensemble mentions in guilds and such. I'm going for it. This may be a little bit of a stretch. Maybe Babylon or Women Talking is maybe a little bit of a safer choice. Maybe The Woman King is maybe a little safer choice. Maybe there's a chance for RRR, but I am going to go with Triangle of Sadness. I think it is the easier film to put into this 10, and I'm locking it in. Okay, director. Top 4, a lock. Daniels, Martin McDonagh, Spielberg, Todd Field. Those 4 are a lock. Now we got to talk about that 5th slot. Is it going to be Baz Luhrmann? Is it going to be Sarah Polley? Ruben Östlund, maybe? Joseph Kosinski? Gina Prince Bythewood? I posit. Edward Berger. He got director and screenplay at BAFTA, as I mentioned before. If I think that All Quiet is going to overperform, it might get the most nominations out of any film. Why wouldn't I put it in director? I think there's a chance that they'll snub James Cameron. They snubbed Denis last year for Dune. They're just not nominating Avatar: The Way of Water like they did the first Avatar. I think there's a chance that they'll snub him. And everybody will freak out on the internet that this is such a snub, this is ridiculous. I don't think Sarah Polley's going to get in. Unfortunately, it looks like this year is going to be yet another year with no women director nominations. It just doesn't look like it's going to happen. Gina and Sarah are probably the closest ones. Charlotte Wells for After Sun is not going to happen at this point. She didn't hit the BAFTAs, so I think Edward Berger is probably the safest bet right now, and I'm going to lock it in. Actress has really turned into a very interesting race here. It seems like the winning conversation is going to be between Cate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh. They're both locks. And then the other 3 is kind of interesting. I see Viola Davis getting in. She's hit everywhere. She, Michelle Yeoh, and Cate Blanchett have hit everywhere they needed to. Critics' Choice, SAG, Golden Globe, BAFTA. They've hit all the 4 major precursors, whereas some of these other people have not. I'm going to predict Viola Davis. I'm still going to pick Danielle Deadwyler. That Golden Globe snub was egregious and scary. However, I think she's going to get in, though I do think there's a chance that she might miss because of this little actress named Ana de Armas for Blonde, who I am predicting right now. I'm not going to predict Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans. The Fabelmans, losing steam. It's losing steam. And I think Michelle Williams is snubbable. It's either Danielle Deadwyler or Michelle Williams that's snubbable for Ana de Armas. I think they're going to do Ana de Armas, and people are going to be up in arms about it. It's going to be crazy. It's just a matter of who do I snub, Danielle Deadwyler or Michelle Williams. I think Michelle Williams, in the eyes of the Oscars, is a little more snubbable than Danielle Deadwyler. And I think people are going to be a little less mad if Michelle Williams gets snubbed. Because if Danielle Deadwyler gets snubbed for Ana de Armas, oh boy, that's going to be a fire. It's going to be insane. I don't think Margot Robbie's in the conversation anymore. She's like number 7 for me right now. Olivia Colman, probably not going to happen as well. She didn't happen at the BAFTAs. I don't think there's really anyone else. I mean, we kind of got to talk about Andrea Riseborough. If you don't know the conversation about what's going on here, she's this actress who's been in the business for a while. She's had some good work. I love her in Birdman. She's in Birdman. She was most recently in Matilda. She's a great actress, and she's in this movie called To Leslie, which is a tiny, tiny independent film. Did not make any money at all. And she's kind of doing a grassroots campaign, emailing all of her actress friends. And there are some major big names in the business right now that are posting all over social media, doing campaigns to say, hey, nominate Andrea for To Leslie. And this was during Oscars voting week. Like, this is happening actively right now. This is very possible. It would be unlike anything we've seen before. It would change Oscar campaigning, awards campaigning forever, in the way that someone could just go, oh, if I want to get nominated, I just have to do the work. I have to do the work. I'm going to have to call people, tell my people to nominate for me. So we got to consider it. I know a lot of people are just like changing everything to just throw her in there. There's not really a precedent to be set before this. I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. I've heard that it's deserving, that she's amazing in the film. I just think maybe not this year. Maybe this will lend way for something new that'll happen in future years that we have to think about. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go with Ana de Armas, Michelle Williams, out. Locking it in. Actor. This is another four people locked in. Brendan Fraser, Austin Butler, Colin Farrell, Bill Nighy. All 4 of them have hit everywhere. It's just a matter of that 5th spot. And the Best Actor category is looking very barren right now. Is it Tom Cruise? Is it Paul Mescal? Is it Adam Sandler? Is it Jeremy Pope? Is it Hugh Jackman? Really, could be anybody of those, honestly. Think some of the more likely ones. Tom Cruise, is he going to ride off the coattails of Top Gun Maverick? He did get the Critics' Choice, didn't get the Golden Globe, didn't get BAFTA, didn't even get it SAG. It seems like an Oscar thing to do. He's been nominated before. He's kind of like the veteran here. If they don't want to go for a newcomer, they already are looking at those 4 locked in. These would be their first nominations, first-time nominees. Are they going to do a whole lineup of 5 first-time nominees? I think so. I think Tom Cruise is a little too much. Like, I think people have to recognize, even awards bodies, that, yeah, Top Gun was awesome. Tom Cruise is a name that's associated with Top Gun. He's all over the movie. It's right next to the picture. The movie's called Top Gun Maverick. It's named after his character's name. I just don't think he does enough. And I think people are going to recognize that yeah, you were good in that, but you didn't do something awards worthy. I think someone that did something awards worthy in a film that is very the opposite of Top Gun Maverick, small little indie called After Sun, I'm predicting Paul Mescal. He's been hitting at certain places. It's kind of an outside shot. He got the BAFTA. He got Critics' Choice. After Sun didn't get Best Film or Director at the BAFTAs, which was pretty tough. Are we just going to say that After Sun's only nomination is going to be for Best Actor? That's a little bit of a stretch. However, I'm going to be bold. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm going to be bold. I'm going to predict Paul Mescal. Locking it in. Supporting Actress. What a time it's been in the Supporting Actress category. Angela Bassett has seemingly run away with this. It's insane. I think we also have to predict Carrie Condon. As much as I hate to say it, I think we gotta predict Jamie Lee Curtis. At this point, those 3 of them have been hitting everywhere. There's a chance, I think there's a lot of conversation of, are the Oscars gonna redeem Stephanie Hsu at the expense of Jamie Lee Curtis. I think the likelier outcome is that they both get nominated. I don't see Jamie Lee Curtis missing just at this point. It's just everything's been going her way, and she's really been fighting for that nomination. Like, I just think it's too bold to assume that they'll just do a complete 180 on her at the very end here. Like I said, it's more likely that Stephanie Hsu might sneak in. However, I'm predicting Hong Chau. She's been doing really good. Wherever the whale's kind of showing up, Hong Chau's showing up along with Brendan Fraser. That SAG nomination is strong. So I'm going to predict her. Now, am I going to follow the SAG nomination and predict Stephanie Hsu? That SAG really saved her. It really, really saved her. She needed it to stay alive. If she didn't get the SAG, no way in hell am I predicting her. That SAG really helped. However, I'm going Dolly De Leon, like I mentioned before. I think Triangle Sadness is probably going to get in with that screenplay, supporting actress package. It's going to be sucky. It's going to be so bad that Jamie Lee Curtis is going to get nominated and Stephanie Hsu. Probably not. And it's going to be a conversation we're going to have for a long time about these awards. I hope. Here's the thing. I think Dolly De Leon deserves it. I think Hong Chau deserves it. I think Stephanie Hsu deserves it. I really want all three of them to get nominated here. I would love if Jamie Lee got snubbed and they put Stephanie Hsu, Dolly De Leon, and Hong Chau in. That would be ideal. That would be the best. However, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going with Dolly De Leon. Lock it in. Supporting actor, Ke-Huy Quan, Brendan Gleeson, Barry Keoghan, locks. They've been hitting everywhere. With 4 and 5. You have, again, a few people that you can, pick from. I told you I'm not predicting Babylon for Best Picture, so I'm not going to put Brad Pitt in. I don't think there's a way that Brad Pitt sneaks in there and Babylon doesn't get Best Picture. The only way that Brad Pitt would sneak in there is if Babylon makes Best Picture, in my opinion. Brian Tyree Henry hasn't been happening, unfortunately. Ben Whishaw, non-existent. Non-existent. I didn't even mention the women talking supporting actresses. Also non-existent. Just nothing for women talking. And so we got to talk about the two Fabelmans boys, out of Paul Dano and Judd Hirsch. Very early on in the conversations, everyone's talking about Judd Hirsch, that one scene wonder. He's just fantastic in his 9 minutes of screen time. And people were honestly predicting, be like, yeah, Paul Dano's probably going to get that, but then he's going to leapfrog over him in the vein of Judi Dench over Katrina Balfe in Belfast last year. It's going to happen. It's going to happen again. However, Judd Hirsch hasn't been happening. Paul Dano's been happening in some places. Hasn't been hitting everywhere. He's been happening way more than Judd Hirsch. I think just comparatively to all the other competition, Paul Dano is probably a little more likely. And honestly, I think he's deserving. The first time I saw Fabelmans, I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. Second time I watched it, Paul Dano's performance really stood out to me. I think he's doing a little more than we give him credit for. He's being more than just a stoic dad. There's a lot of nuance and sadness to that performance that I'm just so proud of Paul Dano for doing, because I think it's been a long time coming. That first Oscar nomination has to come sometime soon to make up for all the egregious snubbery in the past years of his career. He's very deserving. And then for that fifth slot here, man, we can't deny it anymore. We can't deny it after the SAGs. And the BAFTAs. The BAFTAs went for him. Eddie Redmayne in The Good Nurse. I finally saw this movie. And honestly, I'm not mad. I'm not mad that this is going to happen. I think it's a great performance. It's very restrained. Don't let that 120-second clip that's circulated on the internet, you know what that one is. Out of context, it looks goofy as hell. In context of the film, it's a powerful, amazing moment. It's this 90 minutes of restraint that explodes into these last 30 minutes of screen time where he just lets it out. And it's awesome. I think it's really deserving nomination. Not going to be mad if it happens, and I think it's going to happen. Eddie Redmayne, lock it in. Screenplay. Original screenplay, easy peasy. Everything Everywhere. Banshees. Fabelmans. Tar. Triangle of Sadness. It's not going to be Aftersun. It's not going to be Babylon. It's locked in. Locked in. Adapted screenplay. Women Talking, The Whale, I think are pretty sure. Though Women Talking is slipping, I don't think it's going to slip them out of the whole conversation. It might slip them out of the winning conversation, but I think they're both still going to get in. Glass Onion did miss it a couple of places. It's just, they miss it at the BAFTAs. However, America likes their Glass Onion. They nominated the first one. It's been hitting at other places. It has a very likely chance at winning at WGA with some other films not eligible there. I think it's going to happen. She Said got a BAFTA nomination, seemingly confirming that that movie isn't dead. It's crazy. It's just, we thought it was all dead. Maybe not getting any nominations, but then it comes out of nowhere here. It gets supporting actress and screenplay at the BAFTAs. I got to predict it. And then that fifth slot, I think, is going to Living. I don't see a Top Gun Maverick or a Pinocchio getting in. I think the one that you might swap out for it is All Quiet on the Western Front. On its best day, where it might get 10 nominations, I would predict it in screenplay. I don't think it's going to get quite to 10 nominations. I think it's going to have a good day. I think director is a stretch. Screenplay is even more of a stretch there. So I'm going to go with Living. Lock those 5 in. Cinematography. Top Gun. Easy. All Quiet on the Western Front. Easy. It's going to happen. And then, looking at the ASC and the BCS, I forgot what it is, British Society of Cinematography, BCS. Elvis is showing up. Elvis is showing up. Goldberry doesn't have it as high. I think it's going to happen. I think Elvis is going to have a really good day, as you'll see in these tech categories. Empire of Light is still happening. Empire of Light, you can't deny Roger Deakins. You can't deny Roger Deakins. I haven't seen the movie. For people who have seen it are saying it's not his best work, but it's Roger Deakins. So, I mean, his best day is a lot of people's greatest day of their lives. So, some people are still predicting the Fabelmans. I don't think Giannis is going to get in. He's been missing places. They're not having to nominate. They nominated him for West Side Story last year. I think Fabelmans is a beautifully shot movie. Beautifully shot movie. I don't think they're thinking that they have to nominate him. I would really like Bardo here. That would be awesome. It got an ASC, which is huge. I think it's in the conversation there. Might be like a little bit of underdog choice there. However, the Batman. It's been hitting places that I didn't think it was going to hit. I think it was out of the conversation for a while. However, I think Greg Fraser is actually going to ride on last year's Dune win and ride all of his way into the Oscar nomination here. I think it's so deserving. The Batman is beautiful. I was just worried people were going to forget about it. It came out in March. It came out before the Oscar ceremony of last year. It came out before he won his Oscar for Dune. I think I got to predict it at this point. I don't think Babylon's going to get in, and it's bullshit. It is. It's insane we're living in a world where Babylon is not going to get nominated for Best Cinematography, because I think it should be like winning this award. It should be winning this award. Even if you don't like Babylon, how can you deny that the cinematography was not just masterful? Whatever. Locking those 5 in. Production design. Now here is where Babylon is going to get some redemption. I got Babylon in here, currently predicting it to win. I think Elvis. Avatar. This is probably where it's going to hit here in Avatar. I forgot to mention in the cinematography, I don't think it's going to get cinematography. I think the conversation of like, oh, everything is digital. Where's the cinematography? It's all digital. There is cinematography and it's beautiful. if you actually watch the behind the scenes and hear about James Cameron talk about the cinematography and everything, is beautiful and masterful. However, I just think there's too much of a conversation around that to like fully predict it. But I'm going to predict it for production design. I think you can't deny that. All Quiet on the Western Front. And I think this is where the Fabelmans will still get in. I think the Fabelmans is not going to hit a lot of these tech categories where normally you'd have a contender like the Irishman going, yeah, put it in costumes. Put it in costumes. Yeah, why not? I think this is the Fabelmans. I think this is deserving. And I think it's a pretty great production design. It's not as flashy. It's a little more, it's a period movie if you think about it. So it's a period piece. I'm going to predict it over Black Panther. Black Panther did not have a good day at the BAFTAs. And honestly, yes, Angela Bassett has been sleeping. That's big for her. I think it proves, though, that she got the BAFTA nomination and it really didn't hit anywhere else with nominations. She's very separate from the movie. She's not a package deal with the movie. She's very separate. So I don't think her being the frontrunner and supporting actress really affects anything else. So I'm taking it out of production design. Gold Derby has it at number 1 still, and I think that's ridiculous. Not going to happen. Locking those in. Makeup Hair, Elvis, The Whale, The Batman, All Quiet on the Western Front. Honestly, I think outside of the cinematography, I honestly think this is the most deserving tech category. The makeup work in that is insane. The way everyone's just coated in the blood and guts and there's prosthetics and such, but the mud and the dirt that's just slowly collecting on the characters, especially our lead character, is just brilliant. And it's haunting and horrible, and it's so good. I'm predicting it for that. And then I'm kind of going out of the way here. This is a shortlisted category, so we only have 10 to work off of. I think this is down between Black Panther, Amsterdam, and Blonde. I'm going with Blonde. I talked about how I think Black Panther is going to get snubbed in a lot of categories. I think they'll probably go for costumes, not makeup and hair here. I think Amsterdam is horrible. That's a horrible movie. Horrible movie. So bad. The makeup work is really good and really feels very Oscar-y. But I'm predicting Ana de Armas, an actress. I just foresee. I'm using my future brain to go into the future, and I can see the headlines of oh my God, guys. Blonde got nominated for actress and makeup. It got 2 nominations. It got more nominations than After Sun. This is unbelievable. Everything everywhere didn't even get makeup, didn't even get shortlisted for makeup, but Blonde? I can just see that nomination and the outrage that it will cause. Yeah, it's kind of just the wig and putting a mole on Ana de Armas. But I think the Oscars just like Anna, and they like Marilyn. And the Oscars have a history of nominating films that maybe aren't super critically liked, that are critically divisive, and just going for the tech categories off of their merit alone. And that's why I can see maybe an Amsterdam going in. They'll go, no way in hell are we nominating it for above-the-line nominations, but we'll nominate in the categories that we think is deserving. And I'm going to go with Blonde. It's kind of an outside shot, but I don't know. Could happen. Lock it in. Costume design. I mentioned before, I think Black Panther is going to get in here. Elvis is going to get in here as well. Babylon is going to get in here. And then kind of a toss-up. I'm not going to go with the Fabelmans. I'm going to go with the Woman King. Unfortunately, I don't see it getting many other places besides here, and Best Actress might just be the only categories it gets. And then I'm going to go with Miss Harris Goes to Paris. It's a movie about costumes and fashion. It's a period piece movie. It's getting at guilds and places. It just seems like a very like, oh yes, this is a costume movie. I mean, Cruella won last year. Cruella won last year. It just feels more likely than The Fabelmans, or even like Everything Everywhere, or another contemporary picked like Glass Onion. Gonna go with those, locking in. Editing! This is a race between Everything Everywhere and Top Gun. We know they're gonna get in. Elvis is probably gonna get at this point with all the tech sweep stuff. Now I'm gonna go with Banshees of Inisherin. It got editing at the BAFTAs. Hasn't been hitting and editing in many places, but I think it's deserving, and I think it's just going to happen with the big package deal that is happening with Banshees. They're kind of going to... I don't want to say this is over-nominating the film, because I think it's like deserving. I think in some people's minds it'll be over-nominating. So I'm going to go with that. And then I'm going to go... I'm gonna go down the list a little bit. I'm going to bypass The Fabelmans. I think it's going to miss editing. I don't think it's that high of a contender to get editing here. I'm not going to go with Babylon. I'm not even going to go with All Quiet on the Western Front. I think this is going to go to Avatar. I was just looking at the nominations that I was predicting it for, and Avatar was looking a little weak, but then I was like, how is it still going to get Best Picture? And I was like, well, I think it's got to sneak in somewhere where a lot of people may not think is going to happen. Editing. I may be wrong here. I'm a little... unsure, but we're just going to go with Avatar. I think All Quiet is probably an outside shot right there. Maybe swap it with that or Babylon, but locking in with 5 being Avatar. Lock it in. Sound, Top Gun Maverick, All Quiet on the Western Front, Elvis once again. I think Avatar is probably going to hit here. I think just on the merit of like Babylon's not going to get it. A lot of people are predicting the Batman. I'm not sure. I think it might get into that cinematography, VFX, makeup. I don't see it going further past that. If it got sound, that would be a massive package for Batman. Pretty cool. But I'm going to go with Avatar. And then Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't think there's going to be a massive over-nomination for Everything Everywhere in all these categories. I think it's going to do well. And I think a little better than some people are going to think it's going to be. I think Everything Everywhere is shaping up to really be like the sole front runner. Maybe Banshees is contending for the win. But I think Everything Everywhere is just propelling itself so far ahead that it might just get there. And I'm going to predict it in sound. No more conversations, locking it in. VFX. Avatar. Top Gun. The Batman. All Quiet on the Western Front. It's going to come with that package. Though I don't think it's not like a one-take movie, you know, like 1917 where they have to do all this stitching and VFXing of all landscapes. But if you look at the movie, there's these massive, the scope of that movie is massive. Like even for a war film, it is huge. I haven't seen like a VFX reel that would like show all these crazy things. However, I think it's just going to come with that package. It's going to come with the package. If you buy this video, you can tell that like packages are huge at the Oscars. Packages are huge. It's the big thing. And here's the thing. The VES, the Visual Effects Society, which is a big precursor. This year, they said no Marvel films. They didn't nominate Black Panther or Doctor Strange. And they're both shortlisted here. So that makes me uncomfortable predicting either of them. The first Black Panther wasn't even able to get visual effects. I don't think it's a world where Doctor Strange would get in over Black Panther. So we're going to say that both of them are not going to make it. And we're going to predict Fantastic Beasts or Jurassic World. There's a world that could happen. 13 Lives, possibly. That feels kind of an Oscar pick. Some hidden VFX stuff. However, I think just out of sheer, like, what else are we going to do? I think Black Panther is still going to get in. Locking it in. Score. I think this is a pretty easy fight. Babylon, Pinocchio, Woman Talking, Banshees, and The Fabelmans. I think the weakest one out of that is The Fabelmans. the Oscars may be like, hey, John Williams, you wrote like 20 minutes of music for this movie. It's kind of just piano music. We don't need to nominate you for this. We're going to go with All Quiet on the Western Front, a little bolder score, which I love. I would personally nominate All Quiet. Wasn't a massive fan of John Williams' score for Fabelmans, but they nominate him for all the Star Wars movies. Like, come on. It's probably going to happen. Locking it in. Song, think Easy 4 here. Not To. Ciao Papa, Lift Me Up, Hold My Hand. And then I'm going to go with Carolina. I'm kind of debating between Carolina and Applause. Carolina being by Taylor Swift for Where the Crawdads Sing. And Applause being from a movie called Tell It Like a Woman that I don't think anybody's seen. Maybe not even the Oscar voters, but it's Diane Warren. And if you know anything and have seen these videos, you know the power of Diane Warren at the Oscars, and that anytime she does a freaking song, she's going to get nominated. So I think it could happen. I'm just going to go with Taylor Swift. I got it. Lock it in. Animated feature, Pinocchio, Marcel, Turning Red, Puss in Boots, automatically in. This is kind of a weird toss-up. It really could be anything. Could be Wendell and Wild. Could still be Strange World. Could still be My Father's Dragon. I don't know. I think the more likely candidate is Wendell and Wild. However, maybe I'm just still a little biased. But I think the bad guys could still do it. Yes, DreamWorks is already got Puss in Boots in, but it's been such a massive year for DreamWorks. They may just nominate both of them and just really slap Disney in the face. Again, I might be a little biased because I love the bad guys. I just don't know if Wendell and Wild was widely seen as much as the bad guys. We're going the bad guys. Lock it in. International feature, All Quiet on the Western Front, Decision to Leave. Argentina 1985, I think that's going to get in after its crazy, surprising Golden Globes win. Probably going to stay in. Close. Probably staying in. I would say that's getting a little weaker. It's missing some places. A movie, though, shout out to the Oscar expert, amazing awards pundit and YouTuber that kind of, started my love. One of the first people that started my love of awards punditry and predicting. He's been on about The Quiet Girl since like September, and I've just kind of had it on my radar ever since, and lo and behold, look at it, everyone's predicting The Quiet Girl now. He told you. Shout out Oscar experts. So I'm going with The Quiet Girl. EO is a little too avant-garde, a little too experimental. I don't think Saint Omer will get in. Holy Spider. Bardo, I still don't think it's... I think The Quiet Girl, that adapted screenplay nomination at the BAFTAs was huge. Quiet Girl, locking it in. And then documentary or feature, All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Navalny, Fire of Love. I think those are 4 safe. I mean, documentary category, you never know. Honestly, like, even the frontrunner isn't safe. They often snub, like, the first frontrunner. It's insane. I think those 4 are pretty sure safe to predict right now. And then it's a matter of, like, is it Descendant? Is it The Territory? Is it Moon Age Daydream? I'm going with Moon Age Daydream. I know it's kind of like a crowd favorite pick. I think more people have seen Moon Age Daydream compared to the other documentaries and such. I just haven't been seeing Descendant in places that I think are super important. I've seen The Territory show up. That's pretty close, I think. They could go with just a crazy outside shot. That sometimes happens. But we're going to go Moon Age Daydream. Especially when it was shortlisted in the sound category at the Oscars here. They like Moon Age. Locking it in. And then I've got the shorts categories, the 3 shorts categories. I'm not going to talk about each specific one because I don't know enough about them. Here's the what I'm predicting. I kind of just went with the Gold Derby 5. I don't know, again, I don't know enough about them to like give you explanations as to why. I've heard of some of them. Heard some are good, some are fun. We'll see. I don't really care. I'll learn more about the ones that get nominated. And those are my predictions for the Oscar nominations. Stay tuned for my reaction video on Oscar morning. Honestly, I feel pretty good about my predictions. There could be some surprises in different categories, but I think honestly, I might have like for sure like 75% of it. I think there's a lot of categories where like 3 or 4 are like guaranteed, and then the other 2 are just kind of like who knows. So we'll see what's gonna happen. Yeah, I'll see you after the nominations get announced. Bye.